Welcome back, welcome back. I am super stoked. We got a knife here, and it's something I've been very excited to check out. This is just in from TW Price Design, so I've got my TW Price Dawn V2 right there doing the unboxing. This is actually, out of the 100 knives that I have, this is the knife that my wife has chosen to be her daily driver and go-to. So I'm definitely a big fan of the brand and what he has done over there. Let me just get this off the screen, make sure there's nothing sensitive in here. It doesn't look like it, and let's see what we got. So now he's got this seal here on the top of the box, which I think is a good upgrade versus the past. Let's get this out of the way here. And really thankful for him sending this in. This is, I believe, this is the Reyne, but I believe this is in Magnacut, by the way. I believe this is a prototype. So let's take a look. Ooh, really liking the initial feel, no surprise there. Wow, that is a bigger, badder version of what we already like about the Dawn. Doesn't look like you could quite front flip that there, but maybe someone with a lot of enthusiasm could figure it out. You can definitely get to the thumb hole. It looks like almost the exact same thumb hole as before. Now this one's got a rear flipper tab, so you're going to get a little bit of that double clutch when it comes down there and hits you on the thumb. I've said before, I'm not the biggest rear flipper fan, but the execution here is really nice, and what I like about it right away is just the angle and the jimping make it very consistent and confident. One of the things I think he did really well in this V2 that it looks like he's continued to maintain is a really nice liner lock design. This one feels a little more robust on the access bar, and it's got a little jimping in there, which the Dawn did not have. You just get a little more of a sense of weight on the blade. And really like the finishing here on the scales, and the pocket clip is pretty special actually, to have a milled pocket clip and just kind of milling out of there. There's just an extra detail that you don't get on every knife. Everything's knocked down nicely around the edges. I don't feel any hot spots anywhere. Feels really good in hand. The ergos are really nice, really nice. Actually a noticeable improvement. These are really good, very good, but you try and get in here and you see how you got this kind of bump here. I gave him this feedback before also. It kind of makes it a little weird to try and sometimes get into that the thumb fuller too. This is just exactly what you would want, the way your hand's built. These two fingers come in here, it just feels like those are some of the best ergos I've ever felt on a knife. So that would be the standout, for me, the standout quality of this knife. Then you look at the pricing and Magnacut and the quality and everything, and he does these knives with best tech, or at least he did on this guy. I'd have to double check with him on this one. Now I'm saying it, I think it's best tech, but I feel like maybe he branched out, so I'd have to double check that. The relief leaves a little something to be desired, like to get in there. This is a little bit of a thicker scale, I feel like, maybe. Is it the same now? It's a little bit thicker, right? Oh, gosh, it really looks very similar, doesn't it? But it seems like it's just a little harder to get into. I mean, you can actually see it right there. You see how much further back that's cut? That really makes that very accessible for the thumb flick. You can just see how much, you know, this is, so I'd probably prefer it to be just a little further cut back, or maybe even have the blade stand out a little further, just to make it just a tad bit easier. It's totally doable, but you can see if you do kind of ignore it a little bit, you might miss it or slip like that. So same thing on the back side, a little harder. You probably saw me miss a couple on the first couple flicks, a little harder to get into that fuller, that like right here, it's cut back a little further than that, where you can see where the scale overlaps this fuller. It looks like the fuller is almost the exact same size. This guy has just a phenomenal reverse flick. This guy does too, but you have to maybe go like a little further up here. If you're a little further down, it's a little harder to get into it. If you go up there a little, then you get a little better access. the further up you go here, because this fuller gets a little wider as you move up. But for flipper fans, the good news is you're going to be extremely happy with this. I mean, it is very easy to flip in just about any hand position. And I think that's really where this one's the most optimized. Again, I'm not necessarily the biggest flipper fan, but I appreciate when it's done right. And this one does feel like it's done right. I like the blue ano, and I like the new pattern. He didn't have to necessarily do new patterns here, but he's keeping it fresh. Also really like this new back spacer. So this one had standoffs in the back, and this back spacer just adds just a little touch to it, and it kind of stands out a little, so it gives you a little actual functional jimping there, which is kind of nice and just feels good in hand. This thing just feels so good in hand. I don't feel the pocket clip at all. I don't know if that's part of why he did this, but I just can't, it almost feels like a knife without a pocket clip on it. This thing, the ergos on this are really fantastic. I like this one a little more in the regular position than in the fuller, whereas on this one, I kind of like the fuller is a little easier to choke up on. Boy, they're both really good though. The ergos on his knives are really fantastic. I think the word design being in the name is truly true to form. Let's get into some details here. So this one has a nice stone-washed blade on it. Nice jimping on the back. Really like the cool kind of choke up point on there. That's just in the right spot for me. And then let's take a look at just anything else that we see. It's running on bearings. And nice weight reduction in there with the cutouts. Really quite deep on those actually. So nice titanium frame. Gosh, it just feels like a nice knife. It's bigger for sure than the Dawn V2, but it's not like a monster. Like it's a nice, I like when someone goes bigger, but they go like 15, 20% bigger, not like 50% bigger. So this guy was already so good. It's like, don't take what's good on that and then add to it, right? So you got 3.67 ounces here. I'm gonna guess this guy's around 4.25, 4.75. 4.5 ounces. So that's like a really nice, for like a full-size knife, that's just a really nice weight there. And let's take a look at these stats on the length, because this thing has a really nice like just size to it. It feels like it's like maybe 8.5, maybe a little less, 8.25 inches or something. 8.25 there. You got 3.5 of cutting edge and about 3.65 on the blade length. So you can do the math there on the handle. I am not mad about this knife. I think I'm not surprised to say that I think he did a good job on it. And I think there are going to be a lot of people that are going to resonate with this and feel really good about it. Let's throw this guy behind it just so you can see a little bit on the size difference there. By the way, I do have one that I've never used. Got a nice little Dawn V2 in the Damas steel too. And I'm not sure what his plans are, but this one had a Timascus kit available for it, where you could get the pivot collars and the pocket clip in Timascus, which was pretty cool. Then you got the polished Damas steel blade, which is just, you know, this is expensive. Like this one with this finish and everything, it was already expensive with the Damas steel. You add in the pocket clip and everything for like 150 more. And that's like a $600 knife or something crazy like that, but maybe even more. But really, you know, a pretty spectacular knife there. So look, TW Price is continuing to, I think, bring a product to market that punches above its weight. Like the knives that I compare this Dawn to are like Brown knives, Brian Brown, typically just much more expensive than what they cost. Now they are made in China, but they're made with the highest quality, and I think his QC is really good. Just seems to do a good job of making sure that what comes out and gets in the hand of the consumers is really quality. I don't remember seeing like any issue reports on the Dawn V2, and I think we're going to see similar on this Reyne, just because that's how he's doing it. And I chatted with him a little bit because I was thinking about making a knife at one point and taking a design out to Best Tech. And he did mention that there are some that come back and they're not perfect or whatever. So he's doing that QC, I think, himself. I've seen him do some custom finishes on a couple of them and stuff here in the US after they come in from Best Tech. Yeah, these are very good. And look, is this the knife that I'm telling you go sell every knife in your collection and have this one? You know, if you're a big flipper fan and you're a big knife fan, but you also like something that's balanced, maybe. But it's just a really good product from a really good guy. And, you know, I remember seeing, there's only a few that are like this. The Richard Rogers made a Best Tech. Richard Rogers Mid-X came out recently and kind of made a splash. I think these size-wise are a little nicer to me, a little more knife there for a similar price. What else? We saw the American. You know, American brought out one of his knives, you know, made through Riot, and that made a bit of a splash, but had some issues with it. You know, when you can see a knife like this in that $300 to $400 price range that kind of does it all, Magnacut, and, you know, has this kind of fit and finish, it's very hard to compete. Like, you're only able to get incrementally better than this kind of product. And I think for a lot of people, this is a very premium knife that could last you a lifetime if you wanted it to. And just has all the details. Like, I love the pivot collars. The fact that he does these pivot collars, that's not just something that comes out of there if you don't even ask and look into it, right? Love the little jimping in all the right places. Just a lot of goodness here. So, you know, I'm always super candid. I'm not throwing this into like my top 10 list or anything like that, but in terms of knives that have been made in China, definitely on my top 10 list. Definitely. Like what TW Price is doing for knives made in China, I haven't found someone doing a better job personally. In terms of like an all-around knife, like a balanced knife, I just think he's doing phenomenal work. So I think that's all I got for now. Please feel free to throw any questions you might have in the comments. Please also feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.